Hello, my friends. Welcome back and welcome to a new year here on the channel. Thanks for stopping by today. And today I will be in Luminar Neo and I'm going to be offering up 5 tips to help you get better edits in 2026. And now that I said that, I probably should have made it 6 tips for 26. But regardless, these are 5 tips that will take you through an edit start to finish, give you great results every single time. Let's go ahead and jump into it. I've got this photo here, which is a fall image I shot at sunset, as you can kind of tell, in the mountains of Colorado, which you may also be able to tell. The bottom line is it's a landscape image, and there's a few things about it that I really like. In fact, I like this photo when it's edited quite a bit. But looking at it here, it's kind of flat. It's missing a lot of oomph, and I want to kind of amp that up. So the first thing that I like to talk about or think about is kind of getting a plan. If you want to be bolder, you could call it a vision. And some photos, it's kind of easy to figure out what that vision is. In this case, it's a sunset, so I want to kind of amp up those colors, right? It's a fall image. I want to amp up the fall colors. And also it's dark, so I need to brighten it, right? So it's kind of easy to get an idea of what direction I want to go. But it's not always that easy with every photo. So step number 1 in helping you get your vision for me is to go just hover over some presets and see what they do to the photo. So I'm going to go ahead and click on presets, and I'm in my Summer Moods collection, which is a free preset pack available to anyone that joins my newsletter. There is a link down below. You get this preset pack, you get multiple other preset packs. You also get a 27-page editing guide for Luminar Neo. So I'm going to hover over some of these presets, and it gives me a not even a one-click, a hover preview on what it'll do to the photo. So as I scroll through and kind of see what's happening here, and this Summer 3 I like quite a bit because it's done a couple of things. It's brightened the photo, it's amped up some of the colors, including bringing those trees in the foreground to life, which for me is kind of an anchoring element in the image. It's also done some nice things with the sky, so I like that idea. Now, I'm not going to use the preset. It works great, but I want to walk through a full editing workflow. So step 1, figure out what direction you want to go. And if you don't know a direction or can't quite figure it out, just go hover over some presets and you'll see a lot of different things. Now you'll notice some of these are warmer than others. Like that one's quite a bit warm everywhere, so is that. But I really like this because it also plays to something I like quite a bit, which is the kind of the contrast between the warm and the cool colors. If you look at the sky before the preset and with the preset, the blues are a little richer and it's playing off that warm and cool kind of contrast, which I like quite a bit. So step 1, get a vision somehow or another. For me, it's using presets or hovering over presets to use that as a guide. Okay, step number 2 for me is to make sure I begin my edit the right way. There's so many tools, so many things you can do, but I think there's a couple of things that you can do up front, which is what I consider the right way. Now, that sounds judgmental. I don't mean it that way, but it really gets you off editing in, I think, a really solid direction, gives you a solid foundation for your photo. And that, of course, is adjusting the light. And in this case, I'm going to use 3 different tools. I'm going to start with Develop Raw because it is dark, and because it's a raw photo, I want to make sure I take advantage of the power of that rich data set. So I'm using Develop Raw on this raw photo, and what I want to do is adjust the light quite a bit, and there's really no more powerful way to do that, I think, than coming in here and making these adjustments. You'll notice I do highlights and shadows, things like that before I do contrast. I tend to prefer to do it that way, where I come in and do exposure if necessary. In this case, it was pretty dark, so it was, but I like to do highlights and shadows and then come back with contrast. The next thing I want to do is adjust the temperature and the tint, and I'm going to just type in the number here. I cooled that photo off, kind of played into what I talk about with that color contrast, because I do want to warm up and amplify those foreground colors and some of the warmth in the sky, but I want that color contrast, that color tension between the warm and the cool. So I cooled off the photo overall. I'm going to give it a tiny bit of tint here, just a little bit, and I do like a 1 on the saturation and just a minor bump in vibrance and a little bit of sharpening. And that's my beginning. So before and after, I'm off to a good start, but I got a long way to go. And I'm still in step 2, which is really getting the foundation set, kind of beginning what I call the right way. And the next step for me is going to be using super contrast, because it's an absolutely great tool that I use all the time. And in this case, I end up kind of moving the light around. And even though this is a global adjustment, meaning there's no masking, because it separates it by these different tonal areas, It's an incredibly good complement to Develop Raw, and it gives me kind of local light adjustments to help me balance out the overall light and contrast. So before and after, slight improvement in the foreground, big improvement in the sky, before and after. I love that. That's why I use that as tool number 2. And tool number 3 for me is light depth. Now I'm still in the same step, which is step 2, which is really beginning the right way, but I'm using 3 tools for that: Develop Raw, Super Contrast, and Light Depth. Now, the beauty of light depth, of course, is that it's incredible. I want to come down here and I really want to amp up this foreground with these trees and give them a bit of brightening, as I've talked about. I want to warm them up because it was fall and it is a sunset, so I want some of that sunset warmth and light hitting those trees. And I'm actually going to adjust the brightness near and far a little bit as well to kind of ratchet those down, make those both a little bit darker, and that's going to give me a nice little bit of contrast. So I think that's all my steps for this version of light depth: before and after, right? Before and after. Now, having done that, foreground looks great. I think the sky looks great, but this middle section is a little bit too dark. I'm just going to use light depth again. So I don't hesitate to use these tools multiple times. And all I'm going to do is I move the amount to like 32, and I'm just going to come up here and just make a little bit of a light adjustment, and then once I get it kind of broad here and the amount I think locked in, I just kind of move it around and shift it to see where it hits. And I think hitting right about there, maybe a little bit broader, maybe a little bit lower, I think that looks good. So before and after, but I want to zero these out because I don't want any more impact on the brightness near or far. Also keep in mind that near and far is based on where this mask is set. So it would kind of mess up some of my foreground work in the last couple of tools if I didn't zero that out. So before and after, I think that looks good. And I think so far we've got a really nice start, before and after. So step 1 was presets to give you an idea, or just figure out what your vision is if you don't use a preset. Step 2 is getting started the right way and really moving that light around. Now, step 3 for me is going to be local adjustments, and this is where I'm going to start moving into where I like to amplify detail. After I do light, I tend to work on detail. The first bit of detail I want to amplify is in the foreground. This is a local adjustment, so it involves a mask. So I'm going to drop a mask there in the foreground, give a little bit of structure to those trees. I'm going to close that. I'm going to open it again, get another mask, a linear gradient once again. Give me a nice broad gradient here. And I'm just going to drop the structure in the sky, just kind of smooth it out a little bit. These are just simple, straightforward, easy, and quick moves to help me slightly adjust the detail or the appearance of detail in the photo. A little bit more in the foreground, a little bit less in the sky. It really just kind of plays into my desire, right, in terms of how I want this to look. A little crisper close and a little softer further away. Okay, as I mentioned, masking is step 3, and that's these local adjustments. And I'm going to actually do that with this color tool. A lot of times these are applied globally, and it can work. But in this case, I want to apply them locally. So I'm not going to do the mask yet. I'm going to show you the difference in masking. So I'm going to start with the hue. And the orange is going to go a little bit more orange. The yellow is going to go closer to orange. And the green is going to go the other direction to get a little bit more intense green. All I'm doing is creating some color tension, some color separation between the different colors here. And again, this is really focused on those trees and the foreground. Because I haven't masked it yet, it is going to impact the whole image. We'll fix that in a minute. Saturation is next. I'm going to give a tiny bump to the oranges and the yellows, and then I'm going to give a bigger bump to the green. I like bringing up that green because it helps me, as I mentioned, with that color contrast or that color separation. And then I'm going to go into luminance, and here the oranges are going to get more luminant, brighter, I guess is the easy way to say that. Same with the yellows. And then the greens are actually going to get slightly darker. I mean, just minimally. Now, if you look at that, especially the foreground, I think those trees look great, but because there's some yellow and orange in the sky, it's kind of thrown that off a little bit. So before and after, it's a little too intense on the edge of the cloud. So I'm going to come in with a mask, linear gradient, and I'm going to make sure I get all that foreground, and I'm going to drag it up so that it does kind of fade into those colors, because these colors are still present in that kind of mid-ground, but I'm going to fade it into that, and now I'm just getting that pop in the foreground. So I'm getting beautiful kind of brilliant colors on these fall trees. It's not impacting the sky. There's nothing wrong with doing a color shift or a color grade across the entire image. I'm going to do that again in a second. But here, I really wanted to contain it. That's why these local adjustments are just so powerful. So before and after. Now this is where local adjustments and color grading start to kind of overlap at times. Sometimes I'll use color HSL or maybe color balance, something like that across the entire image and move into color grading. In this case, it was a local adjustment, but also a color grade, but for a certain portion of the photo. Bottom line is step number 4 is color grading. So that last step was a local adjustment, which was step number 3. But because it was also color-based, it's kind of moving into step number 4, which is color grading. So I'm done with color, the tool. And what I want to do now is a color grade. And this is what I mean by that is just a color adjustment across the entire photo. And this is going to be golden hour. And I'm going to go into the 30s here. Now, it's really inflaming those trees, but I really like that. It may be a little intense. Totally understand. We all have different tastes. But if you look at the clouds, before and after, golden hour is great with sunsets because it'll take those warm colors and give them a nice little boost, but it doesn't really mess with a lot of other stuff. So before and after. And I'm calling this a color grade because I didn't do it as a mask, but that is step 4. Come in and do color grading, which I often do with color harmony. In this case, I'm just hitting it with a little bit of golden hour across the entire image, which kind of ties it together because before this, let me show you before this tool, there's vibrant colors in the foreground, but they're kind of muted everywhere else. And now with this tool on, that warmth is hitting everything and these colors blend together. There's more balance in the colors in terms of their intensity, saturation, things like that across the entire image. And that's what I'm able to achieve with a color grade, which again was a simple slider here, just golden hour across the entire image. And so far, we've come a very long way before and after. Okay, and the final step, the 5th step, is really just some global edits, like what I think of as touch-up edits, some finishing touches. And these are generally just applied across the entire image, not always, but generally speaking, these are edits that just tie it all together. And for me, they're usually centered around the light. So there's 2 tools I want to use here. The first one is Mystical because I love it, and it's just awesome. And I'm going to go to about a 40 or so. And all that's doing is creating a little bit more mood, a little bit more intensity, a little bit more shadow, a little bit more contrast. If you look at the entire photo before, quite a bit brighter everywhere, and now a little bit moodier, a little bit more sunset feeling, and a little bit more kind of intensity, perhaps is the word. So before and after, that's a great tool towards the end of an edit to kind of unify the light, I think, and give you that overall contrast and good feeling. And the final tool for me is a vignette, where I just want to come in and sort of focus the eye kind of in the center of the photo. And I'm going to add a little bit of inner light, something like that. And in fact, I'm actually going to choose a subject and I'm going to drop it a little bit lower. It defaults to the center, but because the focal area is this foreground group of trees with their color, I'm going to put the subject, which is what you do by clicking that button and then clicking in the photo. I'm going to choose subject to be a little bit closer to that. Not entirely onyx. I don't want to make it too bright, but I hit it right around here, just right around the edge of it. Gives me a nice little pop there. And then inner light, and I'm going to drop that a little bit. I don't want to go too high. And I like high feathering. It doesn't have to be 100, but just smooths the edges. And the overall vignette size, I think, is fine. So before and after, you can see how that darkens the edges, right? That's what a vignette is and or does. But darkening the edges, slight brightening in the center. Couple that with what I did in Mystical, and those 2 finishing touches are great. And that's why I like to use them for step 5 to kind of wrap up and unify the light in my photo. And that gives me my overall completed edit before and after. Simple and straightforward, right? Get your vision in place, which I like to use my presets for that. Even if I don't use a preset, which you can get at the link below, even if I don't use it, it gives me a good idea. Then I begin what I call the right way, which is really about balancing the light and getting you a solid foundation. For me, that's develop raw, super contrast, and then light depth. Third is doing various adjustments locally. So in other words, masking. And that can be to the detail. It could be to the light. It could also be to the color, kind of what I did with HSL here. Step 4, I go into color grading. And step 5, I go into kind of finishing touches to unify the light and the overall look of the photo. But you can take a photo that was beautiful in person, but raw file kind of dark. This is from a bracket set. So this is one of the darker images from the bracket set. You can do so much with these 5 simple steps to take you from A to Z, from start to finish, and you can go from 0 to hero. I love this photo. I love the result, and that's the approach I use. And that's how I'm going about getting better edits in 2026. Check out my newsletter down below to get those free presets and that editing guide. I'll be back soon. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I hope your new year is off to a wonderful start. I'll see you soon, my friends. You guys take care. And until next time, adios.